So today I want to give you a little bit of a progress report and an update on how I'm doing instituting some new habits into my life, as it is now the end of March as I'm filming this. So I thought it was a good point, like the first quarter of the year is behind us. So if you are interested in finding out more about how I'm doing with my habit building, and if you'd like some tips that I have from me to you, to share about how to build habits successfully into your life, stay tuned. Hello, my charmed ones, and welcome back to my channel for another video. And if this is your first time with me, I'd like to say hello. My name is Alexis. I'm an online entrepreneur who designs and sells digital productivity tools to help you work smarter, not harder. So if that sounds interesting to you, I'll leave some links down below in the description box where you can check out more of my work online. And feel free to download some of my latest free productivity tools over at thecharmedshop.com. So today we're going to be talking about habit formation, habit building, but specifically how I'm doing and the progress that I've made. This is sort of like one part an update sort of check-in with you, because I feel like I don't do that a lot with you guys. I think that I talk a lot about different topics, but I don't necessarily share with you guys in detail how I'm doing with executing them myself. So I thought you guys would find that interesting. So it's one part progress report on my own habit building, and then one part a little bit of a guide, tips that I've learned through this process to help me to get better at establishing new habits, because habit building is not an easy thing. Changing your routines up is hard, and the habits that you do day in and day out are the foundation of your life. So if you can control your habits, you have amazing control over your life and can really achieve next to anything. Like, I think you can achieve anything if you can control your habits. So if that sounds interesting to you, let's jump right in. So if I keep looking down in this video, it's because I am looking at my planner, and I'll just pull this out. I'm specifically looking at that Magnificent 7 dashboard that I designed and is up in my shop. If you're someone who is interested in, number one, a really cute little dashboard for 2017 for your planner, I will leave this link down below. But this is really meant to be an inspirational dashboard to help you choose different habits or routines or things that you would like to add to your life in 2017. I feel like at the beginning of the year, it's very popular for us to set resolutions, like things that we're going to do or things that we're not going to do. But I feel like our habits are really the measure of success on whether or not we have a great year and achieve different goals and dreams and resolutions. So that was my thinking in creating this dashboard. It just says 2017, this is your year. And it's called my Magnificent 7 because there are 7 spaces for you to choose different habits to work on throughout the year. So this is what I'm going to be working off of and giving you guys a progress report on. You may have seen this in my planner setup for 2017. If you haven't, I'll leave that link down below as well. Okay, so progress report. Number one, my first habit that I wanted to get into was to keep a journal. Okay, so keeping a journal. Am I keeping a journal right now? Yes, I am. Is it the original journal that I had set forth to keep? No. Originally, if you'd seen my planner setup video, I had gratitude inserts in my planner that I was planning on using as my journal. Now, I tried to do that in the beginning of January. January was a weird month for me. It was just kind of like, I don't know, like I felt like I was still trying to figure out where my head was at for the year. So a lot of plans that I had for January kind of just fell to the wayside. So that included keeping a journal. However, once February rolled around, I did start using a journal, but it was digital. So it is a application, like a notes application that I have on my computer that syncs with my phone. And just because I sit in front of a cute computer all day or I have my phone with me, I've just been using this journal to do everything. It's almost like my digital therapist. Originally, I thought that the journal would be a gratitude journal, and I do talk about gratitude in my digital journal, but I talk about so many other things. Like I just let everything off of my chest in that journal. So I think it's really helpful. Like, I like that I'm doing this and I feel like I'm in a good rhythm for it. I try to journal once a week. So that's like my target is to do it once a week. But what ends up happening is throughout the week, something will happen and I will write it in a journal. So I kind of keep like a file in this notes application for every week. So everything's like kind of like dated out by weeks. And I just talk about the things that happen. I think it's really good memory keeping on one hand, although I'm not someone who's really big into memory keeping, but I do talk about events that happen or and something that's significant. I will mention it in there, like just sort of like bulleted, like I just sort of like bullet something in there. But for the most part, I kind of just discuss the way I'm feeling and use it as an outlet for different emotions. And I found that it really has been keeping me really sane and really calm and really grounded. So habit number one, keep a journal. Started off a little rocky, but I'm doing it. I changed up, because it wasn't working for me. So that is working now. So I would say that that is going pretty successfully. Habit number two was to make the bed as soon as I wake up in the morning. Now, I am doing this for the most part. The reason that I had said that I wanted to make my bed as soon as I wake up in the morning is because I wanted to wake up earlier. If you've watched one of my previous videos from this year, you guys may know that I did get a new mattress set for my bed in January, and that has been so amazing for my productivity. I know I talked about it in that one video about productivity, but it really has been like a lifesaver. Like, I wake up so early in the morning and I'm fully refreshed. Like, it's kind of crazy. And then I go to bed at night, like, just so easily, and I sleep through the night more often. It's amazing. So I am actually waking up earlier. One part of that is definitely because of my new mattress. And the other part of that is because I'm refreshed, I do jump out of bed and make my bed most mornings as soon as I get up. It's not 100% of the time. On the weekends, I'm not always the best about it, but most days of the week, I do it. And I'm pretty pleased with that. So I would say like that is also a win, right? I'm the one judging here based on like my quality of life. So I'm pleased with that. Is there room for improvement? Absolutely. But right now, I'm super happy with how early I wake up in the morning naturally without an alarm. And yeah, I cannot complain. That is working well. Okay, habit number three is to perform one self-care activity per day. This kind of seemed like a crazy goal to set, like a crazy habit to get into last year when I actually set these out, but it's easier than you think to do something for yourself. And I know there are people watching this right now thinking that you put everyone else ahead of you in your life, and the last thing that you're going to be able to do is get to something for yourself. But I'm telling you, once you make this a habit, self-care a habit, once you like pre-plan what your self-care is going to be, it becomes so simple for you to just integrate it into your day. Now, personally, the self-care activity that I do every day, it's like my default, is my skincare. So I'm someone who I would say that I've never really had terribly troubled skin, but if you guys have been following me for a while, you know that in recent years, I have had some skin trouble. So it's been one of my goals to kind of get that under control. And I am glad to say that I did talk to like an esthetician and a doctor, and we have me on this regimen, right, of different products to help me control my skin. And it really is getting so much better. I've had a lot of people who have sent me messages and just told me that I just like look fresher and look brighter. It is because of this skincare regimen that I'm doing. I'm sure some people are going to ask for me to share the products and things that I use. I've shared them on Instagram, but I don't think I'll be doing a dedicated video. And the reason is because everyone's skin is different and everyone's needs are different. And I'll be completely honest with you guys, YouTube is wonderful. It's a wonderful place to get inspiration and ideas and see what other people are using, but it is not a substitute for going to see a professional doctor or esthetician, someone who does skincare. So my recommendation, if you're serious about wanting to do something about your own skin, see a dermatologist. Go see a doctor or an esthetician, someone who deals with skin issues day in and day out. So that is my recommendation. I don't want to make a video and like make it a scapegoat, like just buy the products that I'm using, because everyone's skin is different. Everyone's needs are different. And honestly, like me just stepping up and saying, Alexis, you're going to the doctor about this, Best thing ever. It took me forever to decide. Best thing ever though. So that is my self-care activity most days. And I have like this whole routine I actually do throughout the week. In the mornings, I do certain things. In the evenings, I do certain things. Once or twice a week, I do certain masks and use different products as well. So I have a whole regime that's kind of like tweaked for me. That is my default self-care activity. Of course, I've also done things like gotten massages. I get my nails done still about once a month, I would say I go to get my nails done. And in the meantime, I paint them myself because my pedicure only needs to be done once a month. Like I don't feel like going like every 2 weeks for someone to do my toenails. But there are other self-care things that I will do as like a treat. But for the most part, my skincare regime is my big self-care thing that I do. Love it. Totally succeeding on that one. So that one's like a check, doing really well. Number 4 is to set boundaries. Okay, so this one was a random habit that is maybe a little bit undefinable when I say set boundaries. Really what I meant is that I am trying to set boundaries around myself for number 1, like the people and things that I let into my life and the energies that I'm letting into my life. And also setting boundaries in terms of the limits I want to put on myself for especially working, right? Because you guys know I can be a little bit of a workaholic. I feel like my life is so simple and streamlined that it's so easy for me to default into work, 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 work. But it's not good. It's not a good habit to get into. And as I film this right now, end of March, I've actually been on like a little bit of a vacation, like it's my spring break, since the close of my empire building launch upgrade. So for the last couple of weeks, I have been on like this vacation where I've just been doing like just the bare minimum work things and spending the rest of my time as I please. And that is an amazing boundary that I've set. I can't believe I actually did it. I mean, there were some days that I did some work-related things, but I'm really proud of myself for stepping back and not letting my business take over my life. Not that it's like a terrible thing if you're in that season of your life where your business is like still getting started or you've got like patches where you know you need to like sprint really hard. But I did that in the beginning of the year. I sprinted in the beginning of the year and now I'm taking time off for myself and it's really good. And it's a very important boundary. And like I said, other boundaries I've set are just making sure that I'm keeping certain people, certain energies at a distance from me because other people's energies can really affect you in a positive or negative way. So I feel like I've been doing a really good job of curating the people I'm surrounding myself with. And even like my social media feeds, I'm not going to say that I cleaned out my social media feeds, but I did like add new inspiration in there and I did like take away some other old things that I was following, maybe old accounts that I'm like, meh, not feeling it anymore. And that's really inspiring too. So there's so many different ways you can set boundaries on yourself to make sure that you're honoring your own time and your own energy. That's how I've been doing it. And I would say that it's been pretty successful. Okay. Habit number 5 was to plan one no-tech evening per week. This one, you guys, is a big fail. Dun, dun, dun. If I can like cue music like that, I don't know. But one no-tech evening a week has not happened. That is not, maybe I did it 2 times. Probably more so in January. I was doing more no-tech nights, but it's hard. It is hard to extricate yourself from the internet, especially when you work on the internet and you feel like your entire life is on the internet and all your friends are on the internet. It's hard. So no, haven't been doing that one. I'm fully taking responsibility for that. Number 1, I know I'm not planning it, so it's not getting done. Number 2, yeah, I mean, I'm addicted to my phone. So a plan of attack needs to be made if I still want to continue this habit. So things to think about for me. Habit number 6 was to always write things down. This one I'm pretty good at. I feel like I'm getting better at this every day. And to be honest, this habit was something that I had started like last year, and it's something that I feel like I've been struggling with for the last couple of years. Because I am someone who, although I'm a paper planner person and I do like to write things down, it's so easy for me to just think, oh, I'll just keep this information stored in my head. But ultimately, I forget the information. And it sucks. It sucks when you like forget things that are important, and it's not even just important things. I always find that I come up with like the cleverest details, the cleverest little things, and then I'll go and execute the project or do whatever the thing was that I wanted to do. And then I'll like remember later that there were all these extra details that I should have written down because I wanted to include them, but now like the chance is over, the thing is done. So I don't know. I am getting better at this. I will say that having lots of notes and stickies around has helped. And of course, I do use my phone when I'm on the go to make notes, and it syncs with my computer and all that jazz. And so I think I'm doing pretty good on this. This one's like another, like, you know, on the side of a win, right? Am I perfect at it yet? Nope. I don't think I'll ever be perfect at it, but I do think that writing things down, I have gotten better at it. Absolutely. I do think I'm improving in that one. And then the seventh and final habit on my Magnificent 7 dashboard is to read at least one book each month, and I have been doing that. So I am someone who does read and or listen to books on tape, and I consider those reading the books very frequently. Like I buy multiple books. I've got like an Audible subscription. I have, you know, multiple books that I'm reading at one time, but I have been sticking to like focusing on making sure I finish at least one, even though I have always like 3 or 4 going at one time. I think my last vlog, I think I talked to you guys about books. So if you're interested in knowing what I'm reading, you guys can watch that last vlog. But I have been doing this pretty consistently. I haven't gone through any of those bouts. I'm surprised I didn't do it during this spring break, but I've had like other things that I've been working on, like self-care wise and just like chilling out wise. I'm surprised I didn't go through like a binge, because I do tend to binge books. Like I'll go through a period where I'll like read like or listen to on tape like 5 or 6 books literally in like a week or 2, and then I'll stop books for like a couple of weeks or months, which can kind of be a little bit annoying. But I feel like I'm much more consistent with the books, at least finishing 1 per month, which is important to me. So those are the 7 habits. So most of them I'm doing really well, I feel like. One of them I'm completely failing at, but it's okay. It was the hardest one. I always knew it was going to be the hardest one going into this. Okay, so that is my progress report. And my goal in sharing that with you guys is to, number 1, keep you up to date and keep myself accountable, but also hopefully that inspires you to maybe get yourself accountable. So feel free in the comments to let me know what habits were on your Magnificent 7 and give me an update on how your habit building has progressed. I think that would be a really great way to get like some accountability buddies. Maybe you can find some people in the comments to like pair up with. Don't hesitate. Like I love that. One of my favorite things about this community is people like interact, and I'll see people like interacting in comments, and then I'll see the same people interacting on like an Instagram picture of mine. So I love that. Look for your accountability buddies, see who's doing things that are similar to you, and brainstorm, get some new ideas from them. I think that can be super helpful when we all share, which is why I'm sharing today. And now I'll go ahead and jump into a few tips I have for habit building and habit formation if you're someone who's like me, still struggling to build habits. Okay, so the first tip I have for you in habit formation, and this is probably the biggest tip that I have for you, is to make sure that if you are someone who's trying to integrate new habits into your life or even take away some bad old habits, it's really essential that you plan it out. So what I mean by this is make sure that you remember and know what it is that you are trying to accomplish, right? So identify what it is that you're trying to either add into your life or take out of your life or change in terms of your habits, and actually have a plan for how you are going to achieve it day in and day out, or like week in, week out, however often this habit occurs, right? I think that for me, and if listening to my progress report was anything, number 1, I've been most successful at things that I have had my focus on, and things that have been planned out in one way or another. So like my self-care, for example, I know what the self-care I'm doing every day is, day in and day out. I took the steps to like sort of plan it out, know what I was doing, and it's my default day in and day out. So it's something that I'm doing really well. But what's something I'm not doing really well? The no tech evening, right? Because I'm not planning it out. I haven't like written in my planner, no tech evening. Like I haven't like set an alarm and said, put your phone off, like go hide from tech and like go read a physical book. Like I haven't made the plan, so it hasn't happened. So keep that in mind that like habits, just because you decide you want to change a habit, and even if you have like a general idea, it's really important that you actually have a plan for how you're going to execute it. So know what it is that you're doing, that you're replacing or adding. Know what exactly you're going to do and put it into your schedule, and even like set reminders. So important to making sure it actually happens. Tip number 2 for habit formation is to make it a swap-portunity. So I did not come up with this word. I forget what commercial it is. It's like a yogurt commercial where they talk about making swap-portunities. It's when you have the opportunity to swap a bad snack for a good snack. And in this example, it was like a low-fat yogurt or something. So I love this term because if I've learned anything about habit formation, it is that we go through these routines in our lives, like just, naturally we have these routines whether we know about them or not. And it's really hard for us to break a routine. But if you swap a habit in your routine for something else, right? If you just like make the swap instead of just adding something in completely or removing something completely, if you take one thing and swap it for something else, it makes it easier for you actually to execute because you've kind of got this routine in place. And when you get to whatever step it is where your new habit is, that old habit, the thing that you're swapping, becomes like a cue for you to do the new thing instead. So if there is a routine in your life that, has a habit inside of it that maybe you would like to change, right? Like maybe it's your morning routine you want to add or remove something, or your evening routine. Try to find something where you can swap, because I think that swapping is easier than just adding something completely new or removing something completely existing. Swapping. Take the swap-portunity. So that's tip number 2. Tip number 3 is to track your progress. Yes, of course, we are planner people. We know that when we track things, we have better results. So if that means like getting some sort of like printable or something that is maybe like a calendar or something where you can actually like check off like days. I'm trying to actually pull up one of my calendar things. You guys know, actually, I'll just put a picture up. You guys know I have numerous of these free downloads in my shop that are wonderful yearly trackers. So feel free to grab one of those. It's a free download, easy to print on your own. And you can actually track, the days. You can like cross off or mark off the days that you are actually completing your habit, whatever the new thing is that you're doing or whatever you're swapping, whatever it is. Tracking it is so helpful. Now, this is something that I feel like I could be doing better, but for the most part, I'm doing pretty good with the habits. So I'm pretty happy with what I'm doing, but you can always get better. Tracking is a great way to get better because it really does hold you accountable. Tip number 4 is to reward yourself. So I think that whenever you're doing something difficult, like trying to establish new habits or remove some old bad habits, anything that you're doing that requires you to really put in some serious effort day in and day out, I think that a wonderful way to keep yourself motivated is through some sort of reward system. So whatever that reward is for you, it's going to be totally personal. Obviously, it's going to be up to whatever you are interested in or whatever you can afford or, whatever it is that is a motivation for you. Some people, it might be like purchasing something. Some people, it might be like giving yourself extra time or giving yourself permission to like take some sort of time off and, relax in like the bubble bath, right? So these rewards don't have to be monetary. It really is whatever floats your boat and motivates you. But for myself personally, I know that rewards are something that do give me a lot of motivation because I do tend to be very competitive with myself. So if I'm tracking and I'm seeing that I have day in and day out been able to accomplish something, I feel like I deserve a reward, right? And I know that's a very silly, like sort of first world thing to say, but that is, a very big motivator for me. And when we're talking about achieving these big things like new habits and like, these sorts of goals that we're trying to put forth so that we have a successful year, I think that anything you can do to support yourself and really keep the momentum going is very important. In a perfect world, no one would need rewards for anything. We would just do the right thing all the time. Unfortunately, that is not the world we live in. So I personally am someone who loves giving myself rewards when I've earned them, but it's very important that you are tracking so you know when you've earned the reward and you're defining what the point is when you earn the reward, right? It's not going to be like you did something once and now you're going to go buy yourself something, right? I mean, I guess it could be if it's something very difficult for you, but for the most part, you want to make sure that you're establishing some sort of accountability through tracking and through a definition of what is going to earn you the reward. So keep that in mind. And my fifth and final tip is not to stress, but to learn. Okay, so as we're doing this new habit formation, it's a hard thing to accomplish, adding in a new habit, removing an old bad habit, whatever it is that you're trying to do. It's not easy. If it were easy, everyone would do it and we'd all be living perfectly successful lives, right? It's hard for a reason. However, I think that the worst thing that you can do is get yourself stressed out when you miss doing your habit or make a mistake or something like that. If you see the way that I reacted to the fact that I haven't been doing my no tech evening, I could be really stressed out about that and really worried and be like, oh, Alexis, you failed, right? But I'm kind of like being very chill about it because I am learning as I go how to be a more productive and mindful person when it comes to my habits, right? So I think there's no point in stressing. If you miss or if you mess up, just learn from it. Don't put the energy into stressing, put the energy into learning about it, maybe writing it down, making sure like if there's a pitfall or something that you might be able to see coming in the future, make sure you've got that sort of laid out and you're prepared for it, right? Learn from your mistakes. Don't stress out about them. It's not going to help you. Okay, so those are my tips for habit formation. I hope that this video has been inspiring and motivating to you. Of course, I want to hear about any of you who are doing this Magnificent 7 with me and what your habits are, and let's see if we can give each other some support down in the comments. Of course, if you enjoyed this video, please make sure to give it a like. And if you are not yet subscribed to my channel, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button for more awesome videos by me, and until next time, bye-bye!